Welcome to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer, a show full of tips and practical strategies to repair, rebuild, and strengthen your relationship. If you are currently stuck wondering if your marriage can be saved, or you know you want to save it but don't know how to go about changing it, this show is for you. And now here is your host, Nicola Beer, who specializes in a proven 10-step program to help couples increase the love, passion, and happiness in their marriage in 30 days or less, guaranteed.
Hi and welcome, this is Nicola Beer and I'm so excited that you're here with me for this episode because it's a really interesting topic and it's a really important topic that comes up time and time again. And that is it okay to snoop on your partner's phone? Is spying on your partner by reading their text messages, WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, scrolling through their social media inboxes, is that acceptable for you and your relationship? How would you feel if your partner is checking your phone regularly? How do you feel about checking their phone regularly? Is this something that is acceptable to you or in no way acceptable? This comes up time and time again. In fact, a lot of the reasons that I work with people from all over the world online is because discoveries have been made when checking each other's phone. Alarming discoveries sometimes, misunderstandings sometimes. Whether it's Facebook messages to exes, WhatsApp messages sharing intimate details or desires, marriage complaints to friends or family, or flirting with old school friends and old colleagues. In fact, the most common is flirting, which can often cause a lot of heartache, distrust, anger, and anxiety in relationships. Many men and women alike confess to me that they regularly snoop on their partner's phone, yet their partner often feels violated, angered, and not trusted when they catch them. My take on it is, you need to decide as a couple now, if you haven't, whether it's acceptable or not acceptable to check each other's phone. To help you make that decision, I'm going to provide you with some really good arguments for and some really good arguments against, so that you can make the decision about whether it's good for you and your relationship. How does that sound to you? Good, I hope. Okay, so let's look at the arguments for snooping and spying on your partner's phone. 1. A great marriage is a transparent marriage. That's inevitable. The benefit of transparency in a relationship should never be underestimated. Full transparency enables couples to have a deeper connection and intimacy. The more you know about each other, the easier it is to make each other happy and avoid things that destroy love. The more you know about each other, the better and more meaningful conversations you can have, as you'll be able to talk more about just logistical and financial things. In fact, for some people in a relationship, meaningful conversation is what increases desire, sexual desire, desire to be affectionate, desire to engage and connect. And yet so often, after children sometimes, or after being both busy at work and focusing on different hobbies, communication can dry up, where the communication becomes purely about bills that need to be paid or what needs to be done in the home or collecting or dropping off children. The third is couples that have full transparency often feel more connected and can often find it easier to make joint decisions as they know more details about each other. And it's really important to make joint decisions in relationships because that's what keeps you aligned. It stops one person feeling that they are being controlled or manipulated, or that they don't have a say in the relationship. Often when that happens for a long time, when one person is more controlling, when one person is making all of the decisions, the other person can feel resentful, can feel frustrated, can feel that they're worth less sometimes. And this can cause an imbalance in the relationship. So full transparency can help couples stay more connected, can help them stay more decisions. Of course, you can achieve transparency without checking each other's phones. So I do want to just put that in there now. Number 4, Snooping can bring a sense of inner peace for many people. When partners check and find nothing, they feel calmer and relaxed, which is better for a relationship. Many also argue that if there is nothing to hide, then what is the problem with snooping? Allow snooping, because it's showing that there's nothing to hide and that the relationship is strong, some believe. Number 5 is snooping can help ensure that a partner doesn't do anything that could hurt the relationship or each other if they know their behaviour could be viewed. The public sharing can hold a person more accountable, and this in turn can result in behaviour that is more caring, which is good for relationship longevity. Number 6, the risk of an affair can be reduced, as checking a spouse's phone helps to ward off any flirty behaviour that may happen if never checked. Given the high incidence of infidelity and severe emotional damage it causes, some couples welcome checking to warn off an affair. They believe that if you allow your partner to snoop on your phone and spy on your phone, then you're less likely to engage in flirting. You're less likely to talk to someone of the opposite sex. You're less likely to engage with an ex or an old school friend in flirty behaviour. 7, many people that are pro-checking a partner's phone believe that following your intuition to look and pick up on the red flags in a relationship is natural and healthy, and that to ignore your inner signals and signs would be to watch your relationship die without taking any action. They argue that it helps a relationship to snoop and follow your own inner wisdom. So if you like this approach and you agree with those 7 points or some of those 7 points, and you decide that you want to say it's okay to snoop on each other's phone, then give each other all of your passwords. Provide each other with your calendar and phone access. And some couples sign an agreement whereby you and your partner agree that there is no right to privacy in your marriage and that everything is allowed to be checked and shared. If you do agree today that there should be no privacy in your relationship and that snooping is allowed, some marriage experts believe that you'll spare yourself considerable grief and sorrow, as it warns off affairs and divorce. They also make the point that you should not criticise the snooper. Instead, eliminate the conditions that make the snooping seem reasonable. So, if there is times where you feel like snooping on your partner, why is that? And what has happened? And focus on looking at that rather than snooping. But I'm going to come to that later. So let's look at the arguments against snooping or spying on your partner's phone. 1. We all have the right to privacy, no matter what the circumstances are. It's a basic human right. 2. Need to protect individual identity. Some argue that we are individuals first and a couple second, so therefore we need to keep our privacy in order to keep our sense of self, and that this is healthy for the individual and the relationship. So it's about keeping our individuality. Our individuality will help us have a stronger relationship, and snooping goes against our individuality. 3 is snooping can lead to misunderstandings and wrong assumptions. Text can be read out of context and leave room for misinterpretation. I've witnessed this where a lady read her husband's messages and determined that he was homosexual. This affected their intimacy and happiness as she withdrew. She later discovered that it was not true, and it had already done considerable damage to the relationship because she was completely shutting down away from him, because she really believed that these jokes with a work colleague had a different nature than what they did. Checking information can also result in harmful accusations being made, which is damaging to the relationship. 4. Trust is an essential part of a marriage. When two people come together in union, they must trust each other. Secretly or overtly spying on your partner's phone implies that you do not trust them. 5. Checking your spouse's phone can become addictive. If things are misunderstood, it can trigger more doubt, which can in turn lead to the urge to check more and more. I once helped a lady to break the habit of checking her husband's phone every night when he slept. She constantly needed to wake herself up in the night to go and check his phone. Needless to say, she felt tired and exhausted the next day. But she couldn't stop this addictive habit. Another man I worked with would check his fiance's Facebook account 8 to 20 times a day. He always found nothing. And she gave him the access, but he became addicted to checking to feel comfort and peace of mind, which certainly wasn't healthy for him or his work environment, getting his work done out of the relationship. 6. It's better to be an adult and deal with the insecurities and red flags in a mature way by first looking at ourselves and then our partner and relationship. Some argue that it's possible to address all of this without checking and invading a partner's privacy. 7. The finding of something painful or worrying can cause more fear and anxiety, which will impact the closeness. It does not give the partner the opportunity to explain their point of view. Things need to be addressed openly through willing information, not coercion, is the last argument for against. So as you can see, there are two entirely different ways to look at this and why it is important for a couple to reach an agreement on it, for what they want in their relationship. It depends on how you want your relationship to be and how important privacy is for you. Personally, I believe that such incidences are circumstantial, having worked with thousands and thousands of people now in my Empowered Love program and online across the world. I know that when our intuition tells us something, we need to listen. Rather than Snoop, though, I would always recommend trying to address the concerns and focus on making the relationship closer. Take the urge to Snoop as a warning sign that the marriage needs attention. Often, people only snoop when things in the relationship are not as close or connected as they once were. If your marriage has lost its spark, you are no longer in love with each other, or there is coldness and distance between you, do something about it today. Act now, before it's too late. So many couples will wait until their marriage is on the brink of divorce to take any action. Often by then, the tension and resentment is at an all-time high, and the couple are not even friends, let alone lovers. Sometimes couples come to me and they want to increase the passion. And before they can increase the passion and affection and intimacy, there has to be a solid friendship, a trusting, a loving, a joking, a fun, before it can go to that next level. The greatest risk of an affair is when a marriage is no longer romantic. That's when another man or woman steps in to fill the void. So do something about your relationship today if this is the case for you. You may want to start by watching my Empowered Love Marriage Secret Masterclass. I'm going to put the link with this audio. And what this masterclass is, it's about an hour long where I'm going to be sharing the 3 key secrets to really transform your relationship from the inside out. It's something that has strengthened thousands of relationships now. Thousands of people have listened to it and they've transformed their relationships just by watching the program. So join me for that. As I mentioned, I'm going to put the link here. And I've also got an ebook for you as well on my website. Again, I'm going to put the link along with this episode so that if you want these free resources, whether you like reading or whether you've got an hour to really focus and give yourself the gift of improving your relationship, then I'm going to be sharing that with you as well. Whatever you want for your relationship, I believe that being in a committed relationship with someone is being available to them by cell phone throughout the day, by being willing and open to give a full account of where you've been and where you will go. Don't allow secrecy to become between you. Transparency is essential for a healthy and long-term bonding in a marriage and for intimacy to be good and flourish. There is a difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is acceptable. Secrecy is not. Secrecy in intimate relationships causes arguments, tension, and resentment, fear, and anxiety. So to find out more about how to enhance your relationship, continue listening to the show. I'm so grateful that you are here. And as I mentioned, I'm going to put the links along with this if you do fancy listening and watching the video. From my heart to yours, have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you for listening to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer. To book your free Save My Marriage consultation, please visit www.savemymarriageprogram.com/consult. And if you've enjoyed this episode, Nicola would really appreciate it if you could leave a rating and review on whatever app you're listening through, so the show stays visible, allowing more people to get the support they need to increase their love, passion, and happiness.